Yeah. So how does emotional intelligence connect to sex? And I also kind of want to throw pleasure in there because I hear you saying that, and I also hear from those who are listening, whether it's kind of like in the back rooms of IG or whether it's, hearing some conversations on Clubhouse or even just some of my conversations with some of my friends, this idea of when it comes to heterosexual relationships and how women engage in, and I'm talking about sex, the physical act, what we desire, what leads to like having a good sexual experience. But one thing that's common is pleasure, right? And oftentimes from men, I've heard it directly, is that your pleasure isn't my responsibility.
I tell people all the time, your orgasm is your responsibility. And I think a lot of times with women, the way we are socialized, of all colors, but specifically Black women, we are the caregivers and we care for others before we care for ourselves. And so we don't even know a lot of times what pleasure even looks like for us. But what I try to tell people in general of all races, genders, and orientations is that pleasure is not solely sexual. When I say I'm a sensual being and I live sensually, people go, "Oh, girl, you live sensually, tell me, girl." No, bitch, it's not that. Sensually, sensuality. I hope I can cuss too because I do it.
Look, I ain't stopped you. I want you to be your full self. You may have to do a couple of bleeps, but
don't let these master's degrees fool you, honey, because I cusses, okay? And I don't code switch either, and that's part of my human sexuality training. $400 a seat. I'm having trainings for therapists and healthcare providers and doctors and nurses at $400 a seat, and I tell them, "Hey, my name is Goody Howard. My pronouns are she, her, and boss." And I don't code switch and I cuss a little bit. If you have a problem with it, we can refund your money now. You know what I'm saying?
I picked up on it. I picked up on it. I'm like, no, this is like, let's roll with it. Come on.
All of it. And so when we talk about pleasure, I say I live sensually. I live through all 5 of my senses. And I define sensuality as exploring and experiencing non-sexual pleasure through all 5 of the senses. So like my glasses, I love the way that I don't feel them on my face. Right? That's sensual for me. I'm sure that sweater feels amazing on your skin. That is a non-sexual pleasure. You get some food and it tastes like the angels in heaven made it.
Yes.
That is a non-sexual pleasure. And so if you live your life sensually, experiencing non-sexual pleasure through all 5 of your senses, when it's time to get sexual, you'll experience sex through all 5 of your senses. And it adds layers to your pleasure. It closes that orgasm gap and it helps you connect to your pleasure. And I think Black women are not socialized to even include pleasure in our narrative because we're so busy trying to survive that we forget to thrive.
Yeah.
And pleasure looks like thriving for a lot of us. We can't get to the pleasure part because we're so focused on survival mode. But in my mind, in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it is food, water, shelter, pleasure. And that pleasure, in parentheses, gets you up to the top of that pyramid of that self-actualization.
Yeah, I don't think about pleasure. I feel like I don't deserve pleasure until
you do something.
Yep. Until all these things are met or I'm at a certain place and then I can go be about.
Black pleasure is Black liberation. If we can find time to seek pleasure and sit in and enjoy and experience it, that is liberation. We don't have time to sit here and ask motherfuckers for a seat at a table that wasn't built for us no way. When I'm not even worried about your little funky ass table. It's a beautiful day outside. I'm finna go lay in this grass and get this vitamin D and play with my children and prepare a meal with my hands for my family. You know what I'm saying? That is liberation.
Like you're even as you're talking, you're challenging, and I'm trying to shift my mind even as you're thinking about how I will continue or how I will go about life moving forward, because I don't think about because it causes you to pause, and stay in the moment of what I am experiencing and then getting the joy out of that moment.
Yes.
And that's been something that I've been, especially I'll call myself like a recovering perfectionist. Oftentimes you are so focused on what's next, how you can do better, you forget, and you almost don't have any memory of those moments because you're so focused on what's next. And so another tool to stay in the moment is really relishing in the pleasure of whatever through all your five senses. We'll talk about this through all your five. And the thing about it, we're talking, this is from a sexologist, right? People don't think about, I don't think about this when I think about sex, when I think about like who I am and how I show up in the world.
And you show up in the world and you show up in your bedroom. Like I tell people, one of the sensuality exercises, right, to grow your sensual self, I call it a shadow shower. So you go in the bathroom, you take a shower in the dark, complete dark, no candles, no music, black. Your eyes will adjust, right? You know where everything is in your shower and you know where everything is on your body. And so you go through your shower routine, but you engage with your body differently, and not even in a sexual way, in a nurturing way, because you have to touch your skin differently to see if there's still soap there, right? You have to kind of feel and touch yourself and love on yourself in a different way to see if that part of your body has been taken care of. And then you have the cathartic, all you hear is the water. It's just so cleansing. All you hear the breathing, your own breathing, right? You have the steam feeling on the skin around you. It's dark, so your eyes are kind of adjusting. And when one sense deteriorates, the other ones kind of pick up. So you're in the smell of whatever soap or body wash you're using, the texture of the scrubby glove or loofah or washcloth or what have you. All of these different things, you're connecting to your body and the care of your body in a non-sexual way. So that now you're going to experience this sort of care when you get with a partner. The way they touch you is going to show up differently.
Yeah. You
see what I'm saying?
Yes, I'm ready for my shadow shower now.
you see, and that's not even a sexual thing. I mean, I described it, right? You could hear me with your sense of sound, but the words, the language that I use, the way my voice shifts when I deliver the information, all of those things are sensual in nature. But they're not sexual. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And it's soothing, it's empowering, it's enlightening, and it's all of these amazing, just delicious things, but not sexual. But motherfuckers here sexologists and want to just, oh girl, dildos and orgasms. We're not ready to talk about that. 18 different kinds of orgasms, and you missing all of them because you focused on the genital ones.
I read somewhere and someone, it was, so I went to, I graduated from Howard University. And so we have this group and someone posted, the different ways, the different types of orgasms. And like, it was, you said 18. And then one was, I don't know, like the technical name of it, but it was like a orgasm that starts like in the mind.
Or, a mental orgasm.
And I said, wait. And a girl had commented like, yeah, I had one of those. I said, how, Sway? Like, how does it
sensually, when you connect to all five of your senses, you experience sexual pleasure through all five of your senses. So no, you're not kissing your partner. You're thinking about the softness of their lips on the softness of yours. Or no, you're not performing oral sex. You're thinking about the firmness of the penis on the softness of the lips and the wetness of the clit on the firmness of the tongue and the way they hold their breath in anticipation when you're getting ready to do something they like, or where they relax their body when they moan in pleasure, or how they tighten up. Like all these different things, it's all going into play. So when you're experiencing connecting to someone physically through all five of your senses, it's bigger. And so like the nipples are connected to the same part of the brain as the genitals.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? You can have an oral orgasm. When I say an oral orgasm, I mean from performing oral sex or kissing or something like that. Not from receiving oral pleasure, but from giving it. And I tell people that take my oral sex workshops, if you have not reached orgasm from performing oral sex, your life is incomplete.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? But but you have to be connected to your body. You have to be present in your body, present in your personhood, and know what your pleasure looks like. And masturbation helps you with that. Because if you don't know your pleasure, you can't communicate that to nobody else.
And it even makes me, because I was going to push back on something I said, because I don't know if I was hoping for a different answer, but when I initially said, like, what I've heard is that you are responsible for your own pleasure. Mm-hmm. I was going to push back on that because I believe that your partner should be intentional about your pleasure as well, making sure that you are pleased. But after, and I'm not saying like solely responsible, mm-hmm. right? You have to be able to direct them, to guide them, to communicate with them, and also know about the layers, the 5 layers and things mm-hmm. like that. But correct me if I'm wrong, what I'm understanding is that you have to have access to that mm-hmm. to be able to communicate with them that this is what I like.
Correct. That's why it's your responsibility, because your access is your responsibility. And if we're going back to the 5 layers of pleasure, the layered pleasure in sex, if you're connected sensually, right? You worried about your partner being connected to your pleasure. Are you connected to theirs? Are you trying, you know what I'm saying? It's a mutual thing, right? So while you're trying to provide pleasure for your partner and they're trying to provide pleasure for you, everyone gets pleasure, because if you're experiencing pleasure sensually, everything you're doing for them feels good to you too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
it's teamwork.
And even I think of like, so in just backing this up just a little bit more, when you talk about the being in a healthy relationship where this happens, what that emotional connection does, what that relationship with deep trust does, that you feel free that you feel free, that you feel safe in this space.
Yes.
So all those things.
Because if you don't feel safe, nothing, it doesn't matter what they do. And I also say, you know, partnership versus like husbands and wives. I am legally married. I have a husband technically, because the law says I do. But a husband is a liability, and anyone that says they want a husband has never had one. A husband goes to work and comes home and gets the big piece of chicken. He doesn't participate in raising the kids. He does not participate in housework, chores. He doesn't give a fuck what's on your plate. His pleasure and his taken care of need to be on that plate as well. And I don't want one of those. I had one of those and I divorced him. And so now I have a partner. And when you call a thing, when you call a husband a partner, he rises to that. He meets that title, because a partner is balance. A partner is you working in your strength and I'm working in mine. A partner is, damn, I see you're overwhelmed. What can I help with? A husband gonna say, we don't have sex no more. A partner gonna say, damn, are we not having sex because I see you have all this on your plate and you can't do that and have energy for sex too. So how can I take something off your plate so that you have more room and energy for us?
Yeah.
That's what a partner gonna say.
Yeah. Listen, like even then, like, so like I love this conversation because like I feel like you're giving words also to my experiences, because I didn't understand why I pushed back so much on the idea of, or even naming a husband, right? Or saying like the idea of marriage, because of the narratives that come with it, because of what we've been taught, and also because of what I've seen. And when I say what I've seen, like I understand different people's marriages like look different in how they show up, but it's like I don't want that strife. I don't want that. I want
to. It's not my portion.
I don't know. And partner set on my heart. It sits on my heart differently.
It does.
It just does.
And if you're a partner and you have a partner, you know what I'm saying? It's a partnership. I'm not a mom. I'm not a mother either. Fuck them kids. I am a parent, because when you think about what a mother does, she does everything. She comb hair, she iron clothes, she fix lunch, she go to parent teacher conference, she get the report card, she help with the homework, What does a father do? He barbecues, he plays football with your kids, and he gets a necktie on Father's Day. So I gotta do all this shit, and you just get to go barbecue?
It ain't even real bar. You just turning the meat. You ain't cooking under the sides. You ain't you just
because I still got to do all that. So I got to work outside the home and inside the home. Fuck all that. So a parent does all of those things. And again, when you call a thing, when I call my partner a parent, he has 2 older children. He has a 24-year-old and a 22-year-old. Well, they're mine too. You know, 24-year-old lives here with us. 22-year-old lives with my stepwife, his ex-wife, across town. And then I have a 17-year-old, and then we have a 5-year-old. The way he shows up with this 5-year-old is not the same way he showed up with them older kids, because that wasn't required of him. And he fed into the thought process of, I'm in the home, so I'm parenting. I'm here, right? That was the narrative that he was fed, that he bought into, and he didn't have anyone to challenge that for him. My stepwife didn't challenge it. You know what I'm saying? And so I am not. Okay. So he had to move differently. And so when you shift that narrative for them, not only does it shift for them, it starts to shift for their friends too. But this is all human sexuality. This is equity. This is gender roles in the home. This is equity. This is what he washes the clothes. It's 5 of us in a 3-bedroom apartment. He will get all the clothes, because it's too much laundry for. We have a washer and dryer, but that's just for in between shit. He will get all these clothes, go to the laundromat, cut on his Wi-Fi, and be watching rap battles or whatever on his laptop while he washes these clothes. That's him time. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because I hate laundry.
Mm-hmm.
And I will go buy new clothes before I wash clothes.
And that's partnership.
He don't cook. I mean, I haven't cooked a lot this year. But I order with love. I know everybody's order.
Yeah.
I know what everybody don't eat. They don't know pickles, extra medicine, all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else. That's how you know the difference between parents, because he don't know nobody order. He don't know what nobody eat.
Mm-hmm.
He'll order some shit. I'm like, oh no, Jackie doesn't eat that. Well, Hendrix won't eat that. Clarence is not going to eat that. Well, they going to eat it today. But if I get you a burger with pickles and onions on it, you're going to have a problem.
Yeah.
Be mad. You finna take it back.
You're going to pick it up. I still taste the pickle juice.
You know what I'm saying? So like, that's, and so we have to figure out what our strengths are and work in those strengths.
Yeah.
And all of that is human sexuality. All of it. It's the gender roles. It's the balance. It's being community minded. It's working together. It's equity of labor, equity of division of labor, all of the things. But everybody just hears sex and goes,
yeah. Yeah. And who knew? This is why this conversation is so important.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I wish people knew. Yes. If you ask what I wish people knew, this is the shit I wish people knew.
Who knew? Well, Goody, my mind has been blown from this conversation. I'm ready. Like, I'm gonna be like, God, I need to get my coins up because I just want to come sit in one of your $400 seats and just eat it all up. You know what I'm saying? And tip. I don't know if you can tip when you go to the thing.
Yes. I'm gonna start putting my Cash App on my slides.
Do it. You changing. I mean, you know this. You changing people's whole lives out here.
It's never lost on me though. I'm always humbled and shocked and appreciative. Not only that people trust me with these parts of their lives, but they apply the concepts that I'm teaching to their lives, to their children's lives, to their families' lives. Like, something that somebody hears from me could change. I love the word trajectory because it's powerful to me.
Yeah.
That word has so much gravitas, right? Language is alive and it lives in and on people. And that's part of my sensuality. Like, I love words. I love language. I love communication. And to know that something that my little old ass done said has changed somebody's life for the better, they can hear something and now their children are in a safer space. Now, you know what Goody said, everybody ain't straight. All our kids ain't straight. And now somebody's little gay child is going to have a safer life because of some shit somebody heard me say. Because I'm always asking, like, well, when did you decide you were straight? Oh, I just always knew. So why is it different for somebody that ain't straight? Just because that's not your experience.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And just that little bit of humanity, a parent that has a child that's not straight, that had a conversation like that with me, is going to have a lot more empathy and a lot more humanity.
Yeah.
When dealing with their child, instead of mourning the child they wish they'd had.
Yeah. Yeah.
That to me, I don't have to never work again.
Yeah.
That to me, I'm gonna cry, and I'm a gangster. I'm a thug. I'm not gonna do it. That shit, like, that is why I do what I do, because especially for Black people, listen, I'm here for everybody. You know what I'm saying? But Black people shifting their minds to change the generations that they're giving birth to. What I'm doing is planting seeds for trees that I'm never gonna sit under. And if that ain't a motherfucking ancestor, I don't know what is. That's the joy for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's more than just when people hear sexologist, they don't grasp how big of a culture shift I embody and represent every time I leave my house. Hell, in my house. You know? So that's why I do what I do. And so when I hear people get it and when I hear people receive it, ain't no price on that.
It's not. And I this is what gives me this is what brings me pleasure. This is what excites me.
See, your non-sexual pleasure.
Yes, is the liberation, like conversations that birth liberation, right? Conversations that open your eyes and where you can receive it, especially in this medium where you can receive it somewhat passively, right? So it's not necessarily, I'm not knocking you upside the head with it. You're listening and you're making a decision if you want to receive it and how you receive it, and even if you want to chew on it for a minute.
Right. And see how it fits with what you already believe and what you already hold true.
Yeah.
That's all it is. That's what life is figuring out how the lessons that you learn along the way impact what you already know.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. That's all. I like it. Thank you. Thank you.
You know who Tabitha Brown is?
Yes.
Well, she said, God, I thank you. I love that. She pray about what she don't say no little long drawn out expression. Oh, I thank you.